the pleasant land of Argos, now a place of unwholesome marshes, once upon a time there reigned a king called Chrysaor, the father of one fair daughter. Her name was Danaë.
I want to consult an oracle. I am curious to see what the future holds for my dear daughter Danaë.
With hanging head he returned from the temple. For the oracle had told him that, when his daughter Danaë had borne a son, by the hand of that son death must surely come upon him. And because the fear of death was in him was stronger than the love of his daughter, Chrysaor resolved that by sacrificing her, he would baffle the gods and frustrate death itself. Danaë was immediately imprisoned in a big tower made up of brass. But who can escape the designs of the gods? From Olympus, the great Zeus himself looked down and saw the fair princess sighing away her youth. And, full of pity and of love, he himself entered the brazen tower in a golden shower, and Danaë became the bride of Zeus and happily passed with him the time of her imprisonment. Danaë gave birth to a godly child, and the furious king, Chrysaor, hurried Danaë and her newly born babe, the little Perseus, put them in a great chest, and set them adrift to be a plaything for winds and waves and a prey for the cruel and hungry sea. The chest grounded on the rocky beach of Seriphos, an island in the Aegean Sea. Here a fisherman came to the rescue and took the mother and child to Polydectes, the king, and the years that followed were peaceful years for Danaë and Perseus. The king Polydectes always wanted to marry the pretty Danaë. But Danaë, the beloved of Zeus himself, had no wish to wed the old king of the Cyclades, and proudly she scorned his suit. Behind her, as she knew well, was the stout arm of her son Perseus, and while Perseus was there, the king could do her no harm. But Perseus, unwitting of the danger his mother daily had to face, sailed the seas fearlessly, and felt that peace and safety surrounded him on every side. On one such occasion he went to a deep sleep, dreaming of Athena, the goddess of war, telling him about the 3 old Gorgons and the dangerous Gorgon Medusa, who can turn anyone into a stone merely by seeing her.
I am worried. I have to sail back and meet my mother quickly. Something is not right.
Perseus, you are a strong man now. Polydectes want to marry me. I am not interested in marrying that tyrant. Zeus is your father Perseus.
Meanwhile, Polydectes devises a wicked plan to kill Perseus.
This Perseus is proving to be a thorn in my flesh. I have to eliminate him.
He threw a big party and invited all the noblemen and warriors. They all graced the party with precious gifts and valuables for the king. Perseus alone came empty-handed, and as he stood in the king's court as though he were a beggar, the other youths mocked at him, of whom they had ever been jealous. Perseus and King Polydectes are having a conversation in a grand hall.
So, Perseus, you're brave and clever. But you've never brought me a gift. What will you bring to prove your worth?
A gift? What could you want, my king?
How about the head of Medusa? She's the deadliest of the Gorgons. No mortal has dared approach her lair.
Polydectes had a hidden agenda. He wanted Perseus out of the way. If Perseus failed, it would solve one of the king's problems. But Perseus, young and bold, agreed to the task, setting out on a journey that many thought would lead to his doom.
Come to me. I pray you, Pallas, Athene, come. And let me dream true.
Perseus is lost, wandering, until he hears 2 voices, Hermes and Athena, appear in a flash of light.
Perseus, do not fear. I am Athena, goddess of wisdom and war. You need guidance for the task ahead.
And I, Hermes, messenger of the gods. With these gifts, you will stand a chance.
In his hand, she placed a polished shield, than which no mirror shone more brightly.
Do not look at Medusa herself, look only on her image here reflected, then strike home hard, and swiftly. And when her head is severed, wrap it in the goatskin on which the shield hangs.
But how, then, shall I cross the wet gray fields this watery way?
Take my winged shoes, Perseus. This will help you.
To face Medusa, Perseus needed more than bravery. Hermes gifted him winged sandals for flight, and Athena handed him a reflective bronze shield, which would help him avoid Medusa's deadly gaze. After a perilous journey of 7 days, Perseus reached a land of everlasting snow. Perseus stood before the 3 old sisters as told by Athena. They shared a single iron tooth among them.
Tell me where Medusa's lair is, or I'll take your eye and never return it.
Return our eye, and we will tell you.
The old sisters, although reluctant, directed Perseus to Medusa's lair. With each clue he gathered, he grew closer to the beast that awaited him. He flew to the garden of Hesperides. He came on the nymphs who guard their golden fruit, and begged them to tell him whether he must wing his way in order to find the Gorgons. But the nymphs could not tell.
We must ask Atlas, the Titan who sits high up on the mountain, and with his strong shoulders, keeps the heavens and earth apart.
Perseus flew to the mountain and requested Atlas to guide him.
Far away, I can see them, said Atlas, on an island, in the great ocean. But unless thou wert to wear the helmet of Pluto himself, thy going must be in vain.
What is this helmet? And how can I gain it?
By wearing this Pluto's helmet, you will be invisible as a shadow in the blackness of night, but no mortal can obtain it, for only the immortals can brave the terrors of the shadow land.
He found the cave of horrors in which the Gorgons dwelt. 2 of them were found sleeping. Perseus sneaks into Medusa's lair, filled with stone statues of her victims. He raises Athena's shield, and looks at Medusa's reflection in its polished surface.
I can't look at her directly. Only her reflection.
Medusa stirs, sensing him nearby.
Who dares enter my cave? Do you think you can escape me?
Perseus watches her reflection, then takes his sword and strikes. With a swift, precise stroke, Perseus severed Medusa's head. He placed it in a special goatskin bag, careful not to let the sight of her face meet his eyes even in death. As Perseus leaves, drops of Medusa's blood fall to the earth. From it, a winged horse, Pegasus, is born and takes flight. The Gorgon sisters of Medusa chased Perseus, but God was in the side of Perseus. With the helmet of Pluto and winged shoes from Hermes, he flew away from the Gorgon sisters. From Medusa's blood, the majestic Pegasus was born, a creature that would become legendary in its own right. With Medusa's head in hand, Perseus returned, ready to face those who had doubted him. On his way, he saw below a beautiful girl sobbing, held by heavy chains.
Who are you? Why are you crying? Who have chained you?
My father, the king, had consulted an oracle, that he might find help to rid the land of the monster. And the oracle had told him that only when I am sacrificed to the creature that scourged the seacoast would the country go free. My father decided to sacrifice me to save my country people.
Andromeda's mother, Cassiopeia, had claimed to be more beautiful than the sea nymphs or Nereids, so Poseidon had punished Ethiopia by flooding it and plaguing it with a sea monster. Even as Andromeda spoke, the sea was broken by the track of a creature that cleft the water, as does the forerunning gale of a mighty storm. And Andromeda gave a piteous cry. Perseus held the head of Medusa at the monster Kraken, and he turned into stone. He afterwards married Andromeda. For 7 days the marriage feast lasted, but on the 8th night, Pallas Athena came to Perseus in a dream.
I come to claim the shoes of Hermes, the helmet of Pluto, the sword, and the shield that is mine own.
Perseus woke up from his deep sleep and found that the helmet of Pluto, the sword, and the shield are gone. Back at the court of King Polydectes, Perseus returns with Medusa's head.
Back so soon? I suppose you've returned empty-handed.
Not empty-handed, my king. I've brought what you asked for.
He reveals Medusa's head, turning Polydectes and his scheming courtiers into stone. With Medusa's head, Perseus fulfilled his quest and rid the kingdom of Polydectes' tyranny. He would go on to have many more adventures, forever remembered as a hero in Greek mythology. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey. Perseus' courage, along with a little help from the gods, led him to overcome impossible odds. This is just one of the many tales in Greek mythology where heroes faced monsters, kings, and even their own fears. Be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more mythological adventures. Until next time.